Hello and welcome, folks. This is Porsche Cup Challenge Round 4, Watkins Glen. As you saw on the information window when the race first opened up, joined with you here in the broadcast booth is Michael McLeod. I will be the commentator for this evening, this morning, this afternoon, whenever you watch back. Exciting race. Watkins Glen is always quite a show. And right now we got our qualifying going. I'm gonna go into the blimp view just a little bit here. You can see everyone is they're doing a little bit of a draft train to try and get the best qualifying laps that they possibly can get. You can see Philip Hammer here. He's working together with his teammate. You can tell by the paint schemes, of course. He's working together with Nicholas Nold. Where is Nicholas Nold? There. See, they are working together and they're trying to do the slingshot. So that's one of the interesting things about open qualifying. You can sort of choose to work together if you can somehow make that work, because honestly, that doesn't always work. Sometimes you make more mistakes doing that, and you may have had 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts quicker doing it all on your own without a car blocking your view, your braking points, turn-in points, apex, all the things. You can see how much time is gained though. How that gap closed really, really quickly. So, you know, I would say this is one of the few tracks that you can actually really make that work if you plan it out with a buddy. And I think some of these drivers, as you're seeing right here, really have planned that out. Who is that? Yeah, they really have. I don't think Emil has got a draft buddy. Looks like he went in for a little bit more fuel and then out for some more laps. We have 10 minutes open qualifying. And I think that everyone really enjoys this open qualifying. I know I do. The lone wolf qualifying, it just gets so, I don't know what it is. Like, it's nice. You really have your own space on the track, all of that, but it just gets so boring. And you just want to see other cars sometimes. It feels more real to be able to qualify, open qualify, and have all the other cars around you. And so next season, we're actually going to be releasing a better rule set for open qualifying. So that will be coming out very, very shortly on the exact rule set for the open qualifying. And the purpose of it is no matter how big or small the field is going to be, if we have 10 cars, 20 cars, 30 cars, 40 cars, doesn't matter. The open qualifying will always be fair. We're going to have rules about who's gotta let the person pass or not. You'll see. You guys will all see in due time. Hopefully we'll be able to release that this weekend or next week. And yeah, the whole purpose of it is, in the past we had problems with some people being impeded and all that, and we will be covering how to deal with that. So right now, looking at our qualifying results on the far left of your screen there. So you're looking at the exact same thing that I imagine that. Philip Hammer's got 106.233. That is definitely an assisted lap by Nicholas Nold. Nicholas Nold is given the draft. It looks like Philip is now given the slingshot on Nicholas Nold. So that's Nicholas Nold is now the one in front. Let's see if he's able to make do, or is he going to go off track, or is he going to make a good lap? Is he going to go on pole? Oh, it looks like a little bit far. I don't think he made that one. Let's see if he comes across the line. Is that a valid lap? Let's see. There's the start finish line. 106.2. Ooh, imagine that, eh? Sorry, Nicholas. You're a little off there just by. What was that? Was what 1,000ths, 2,000ths? Oh my gosh! Oh wow, that is close. Daniel Thomas there is in third with a 106.6. Emil Koopmans with the 106.684. Adam Schmidt quite a bit further back. Jordan Strudwick joining us in our races once again with a long hiatus away from the league racing and Sunday racing overall. And so welcome back for Jordan Strudwick. Mark DeBruin here. He's running 107.1. So outside of those 3 drivers, I'd say 4 drivers at the very front, we have a very similar pace overall between many of these drivers here. Looks like Alistair Pollock in the pits, he's got 107.6. Byron DeBello here, 107.5. Oh, and Neil Killen, welcome back. There's Neil Killen. He's back racing with us. Neil, and And actually, this is a good time to make that announcement that Daniel Thomas and Neil Killen, for the next season, Season 7, will be taking over as the head admins for the Euro Global Division. I've been doing it for quite a while now, and I thought, why not? Why not get a European driver who's really able to focus on that within that time slot that the race is aimed for? And so that's been the purpose of making that switch, making that change, getting a real focused and experienced in running leagues team with Daniel Thomas and Neil Killen. They've known each other for a very long time, from what I understand, and have run many, many leagues, discords, and so on. So I thought, let's give this a try. I trust in these two, and yeah, in due time, they'll be taking the full duties of Porsche Cup Euro Division. Right now, we're just waiting for all of the cars to hit that grid button and get ready to race. You can see Nicholas Nold in the 917 car. He is in second position. He is in the very front row. Philip Hammer, I'm pretty sure he always waits to the very last second. I know he does. If you watch back his stream, it's like, 5 seconds. Maybe I'll hit grid now. What do you think? I know he does that. That's fine. There's always gotta be one guy, Philip, and we know it's you. Just waiting for a few more drivers. You can see as we look through that field some beautiful looking cars, beautiful looking helmets, visors, and all of the wonderful things. There is Philip Hammer. There, okay, he is on the grid. It looks like Daniel J. Thomas is going to be that guy. Or is it going to... Oh, there we go. Here we go. Okay, so any moment now. Any moment now, and then the cars will go. Okay, so I'm gonna pull down the weather. You can hear the engines are starting to rev up, and I think that they will be getting the green lights so that they can do their race start. Yep, I'm just getting notification that the race is about to start. Here we go, all the lights are up for all these drivers. Engines are revving up, and away we go. And it looks like everyone's gotten an excellent launch. Thorsten Seifert going and getting a really bad launch, lighting up his tires in all of the worst ways that he really did not want to do. And he's going to be in last position as he heads into turn 1. Jordan Strudwick looks like he's made up one spot. Let's pull up our timing tower real quick to see who is where. I don't think there's been much change other than Jordan Strudwick making that move on Adam Schmidt through turn 1, and Nicholas Nold is now in the lead after making that pass. Three wide folks into the carousel on the very first lap. Here we go. Nicholas Nold on the inside, Philip Hammer in the middle, and Daniel Thomas on the outside. And wow, here we go. Andreas is making a move. Looks like Neil Killen, I think it must have been Neil Killen. He is going to be going way wide. And wow, here we go. Byron DeBello. Oh, and a little bit of contact. Something has taken place, and there goes... Oh, and there goes Tyler Marigula. Okay, but we can't look too far at that because there's lots of action at the very front. Looks like Nicholas Nold is being challenged by Philip Hammer as we head through turn 1, and there is a car going way off. Adam Schmidt has made a mistake and gone wide on turn 1. And Nicholas Nold has car number 6, Philip Hammer, directly behind him. And if he's not careful, there's 3-4 cars right behind him, ready to make a pass and take on that challenge of potentially winning the race. It is an intense fight. Philip Hammer, does he go up the inside? No, these guys are playing a team game at the very front. That's what it looks like to me. A little bit of a hug the inside, a little bit of a push on the rear bumper, and just trying to stay ahead best they can. So this is going to be quite a challenge for these guys to find out how to break through that brick wall of Team Impulse, because they are really going to shut it down at the very front. I guarantee that. Looks like Nicholas Nold's got a little bit more pace through that final sector over the Hammer. Yeah, and that's showing right there, lap times. So Daniel Thomas, is he going to try and make a pass? The slingshot effect is going to be most felt for Emil Koopmans here. for Daniel Thomas, Emil Koopmans, and Jordan Strudwick, these guys are really going to have an advantage. As you can see, Emil Koopmans is closer than ever. Is he going to make that move, try and go around the outside on the carousel? Because I'm going to have to bet that Daniel Thomas guards that inside just like that. There you go. Emil Koopmans thinks about it and backs out. He wants to wait and bide his time until he can get that perfect opportunity. That's what I'm going to be guessing will be happening. Thorsten Seifert has recovered a few of his positions after that horrendous start of his. Oh, and Philip Hammer, he wants to go round the outside through the final corner. And that, you know what, that may have been, I'm not gonna lie, I think that was perfectly planned. I think that Philip Hammer was doing that to throw that brick wall to the cars behind him. Because when these two lead cars go side by side, all the cars behind, this is just my assumptions. I'll say that these are my assumptions, and I'm making a guesswork on this. And it's just from experience of racing in general, not of these two specifically. But when you go 2 by 2, it has a little bit of a block, because if anyone wants to make a pass on that team, you now have to send it 3 wide. And most drivers are not going to want to go 3 wide. And so it's a little bit of a method in throwing that brick wall so that you can help each other out. And there you go, just like that. So they're not exactly challenging each other, but they are. And what that does is it makes it more difficult to pass for the drivers behind. They have to find a way to get alongside and break apart that brick wall. So that's going to be the challenge of either Daniel Thomas, Emil Koopmans, or Jordan Strudwick to get beside Philip Hammer and stop these the little what would you say, team efforts really that they're having. So there's Philip Hammer. He's actually made that move around the outside. This is becoming really interesting. Nicholas Nold is conceding that position a little further back. There's Emil Koopmans. He's going up against Jordan Strudwick. Jordan Strudwick lifts a little bit to get that draft down that straight instead of going too wide up through the S's. And here is Philip Hammer and Nicholas Noel going too wide through the carousel. Daniel Thomas is trying to choose which car do I follow through. Here is Jordan Strudwick up the inside of Emil Koopmans. And this is one of the wonderful things about Watkins Glen is exactly this. The draft will bring you together. Emil Koopmans choosing to tuck in. And up ahead, it looks like Philip Hammer. And Nicholas Nold is going for a spin. Nicholas Nold has spun, and that puts Philip Hammer in the lead of the race. He has secured P1 for now against Nicholas Nold. And Nicholas Nold, he is way back. That wall just absolutely sucked him in. So now Philip Hammer, Daniel Thomas. So the team games, the team effort is now over. So Philip Hammer is absolutely on his own. Now, unfortunate for him, Jordan Strudwick is still very much in that draft range. And if you look at Strudwick and Daniel Thomas, they have the same color cars, which means they are going to likely play the same team games. So it's going to be interesting if they get that draft again. Is Jordan Strudwick going to fight this one? No, he is going to concede the position and allow Emil Koopmans to go on through. And that is going to save their chances of possibly catching that lead group. Emil Koopmans at 1.5 seconds, definitely still in that draft range. Here's Andreas. Oh, so it looks like Neil Killen's been passed through the carousel by Adam Schmidt just now. And so he is letting Adam Schmidt go on through. And this is incredible. This is just the very first race. This is just the very first race. This first 10-minute race, which will lead into our 15-minute race with reverse grid top 4. Coming up the hill and down that long straightaway, this huge draft effect. You can see Daniel Thomas started at around 4 tenths and 1.5 tenths, 2 tenths gained just off of that one straightaway. So that is an intense draft effect that's going on. Emil Koopman's at 1.5, 1.55. He's still in that range, so he is fighting to keep that chance alive, to stay at that very front. The key positions are going to be P3 and P4 in this race for the next race of the reverse grid top 4. That will be 15 minutes, and it'll be very interesting. You're basically playing a game of chess as you're trying to race. Stay focused, be consistent. It's definitely quite a challenge. This new format that we've come up with for the Porsche Cup and the Porsche Cup Challenge League, absolutely a blast. We thought, where does everyone have the most fun? Race starts. You're surrounded by cars, absolutely surrounded by cars, and it's just the most fun time at that moment. So here is Andreas Kirchberger. He's coming up on Jordan Strudwick. Does he go for the inside under braking into the carousel? He does not. He backs out just in time so that Jordan Strudwick can take that normal line and thinks better of trying to battle out too wide at that exact moment. With the pace that he's been using and catching up onto Strudwick with, it's, I would say, any moment now, and he's going to make that pass. This is going to be the last lap right now, lap 8. If these laps are, let me see, how long are these laps? There you go, minute 7. At a minute, there. Minute 7, this is going to be our last lap, so this is going to be 9 laps done this time by, and this is going to be them receiving that white flag guaranteed. So Philip Hammer's slowly dropping off that car of Daniel Thomas. I'm going to bring everyone's full name up, because where are these guys' first names? There you go. And Andreas Kirchberger, looks like he's made a few mistakes on his braking zones and exits, because he was much closer last lap. And so now at 5/6 tenths, he's not in position to make a pass. Neil Killen looks like he's doing himself very well back in the Porsche Cup, and just following along with that draft of Adam Schmidt. So Neil Killen let him by, and he's just practicing. It looks like he's following his lines and seeing if he can figure out what he's doing. Here comes Philip Hammer coming around the final few corners for the very last time. Congratulations, Philip Hammer, for bringing home that win in our first race. 10 minutes there. There is Daniel Thomas, Emil Koopmans, Jordan Strudwick, Andreas Kirchberger just outside of the reverse grid. There's Adam Schmidt, Neil Killen, Thorsten Seifer gained back many of those positions to be in 8th again. There's Byron DeBello, Nicholas Nold, and he just had a... I'm sure that's exactly how he feels about that race. Just hit the wall. See you later. Goodbye. Hey guys, you didn't win. What are you doing donuts for? And we're just waiting for our final car to finish, and that is Tyler Marigula. Mark De Bruin and Alistair Pollock are out of this race. They'll be waiting for the next race to start. The next race will start in... Let me see, pretty quickly. I'm sure in about 10, 20 seconds. Yeah. There we go. Now that Tyler has crossed the line, it will reset into the next race. Here we go, and let's see. Yep, 15 minutes is up on the clock, and we're going to just wait for those drivers to come onto that grid so that the race can start. Let's see if Thorsten Seifert gets a little bit better of a launch this time round. Definitely an interesting, but you know, he missed some of the chaos by being behind it. You gotta keep your eyes forward in that way, right? But it really did have him miss a lot of that chaos, even though he had a horrible start and could have finished maybe closer to the front. There's Nicholas Nolt. He's starting way at the back. I want to take a look at this blimp view. You can see all the cars are starting to come onto that grid. Just a few more seconds, and then we'll be starting our race. The lights will be going up on the middle of these drivers' windows, and yeah, here we go. Engines are revving up. And away we go. It looks like everyone's gotten a good start this time. Nothing crazy. Everyone's gotten away safely. This is Jordan Strudwick is in the lead of the race. Oh, and that looks like a brave dive up the inside of Philip Hammer. Philip Hammer able to fend that off. And everyone, for the most part, all of it really, for the most part, is everyone's behaving. Mark De Bruin in the very last position there. What is going to be happening as we head towards the carousel for the very first time? Jordan Strudwick is going to defend that inside. Emil Koopman is going to be going around the outside. Daniel J. Thomas just behind. Let's bring up that overlay. Is there any more too wide? That looks like Neil Killen with Adam Schmidt up the inside. Adam Schmidt on the shorter distance travel is going to be gaining that position off of Neil Killen, while Nicholas Nold is starting to charge up the field as well, up the inside. And Emil Koopman's going side by side for the lead of the race against Jordan Strudwick. Jordan Strudwick sticking it and staying ahead. Daniel Thomas winding in on the battle, and Philip Hammer, with all of the cars duking it out, able to get ahead of them. And now we're going to have a 3 wide entering turn 1, which has broken down into a 2x2. And here we go, heading up the S's and through that back straight. This is anybody's guess to know how this will end up. I'm absolutely blown away. These guys are really fighting it out from the very, very beginning. But you know what? The draft will bring you back. There's Adam Schmidt. It looks like he's made up another... Oh, no, he has not made up another position. This is 2x2 once again. And some of these drivers backing out and conceding the position, willing to tuck in for that draft. Emil Koopman's, though, is just absolutely bleeding positions by the looks of it. And Andreas Kirchberger is allowing him to come back to that racing line. Andreas does not, absolutely does not want to lose that draft to that lead pack driver there. There's Nicholas Nold making that move on Adam Schmidt, not able to make it stick. And there is this gonna be a 3 wide into turn 1. Anybody's guess is do we have a guess to make it 4 wide? 4 wide. There's Byron DeBello being absolutely brave under braking, and just maybe a little bit too brave, a little bit of contact, and that has put some cars unfortunately way behind. Where is Byron now? And here we go at the very front. We can't miss the battle for P1 in this race. Philip Hammer has made that draft pass on Jordan Strudwick, and I can't help but think that that's a little bit of a strategic maneuver by Strudwick to allow Philip Hammer make a pass and just start pushing him along to break that draft to Emil Koopman, who's 1.3 behind. So one little mistake and you will have Emil Koopman's catching up to the very back of you. So I would have to wager that was a strategic maneuver, although it did not work. The draft is felt in this car at the range of around 1.6 seconds. You will still gain 1 or 2 tenths at the range of 1.2 seconds. So, unfortunately for Jordan Strudwick, they were too close. And you'll notice as they go down this straight, the interval will drop and drop and drop and drop. So, yeah. Wow, these guys are really giving it their all. Nicholas Nold, after that massive turn 1 kerfuffle, survived that 4 wide incident that took place, and with Thorsten Seifert in his tow at 1.2 back, he's going to be pulling forward Tyler Maregula and Alistair Pollock, it looks like. Adam Schmidt's not too far off as well. And like I was saying, it looks like Neil Killen was the one who lost out the biggest from the turn 1 kerfuffle of 4 wide. He is now way back here. Byron DeBello, it looks like, is out. It looks like he's in the pits, I think. Somewhere in the pits. Anyways. Thorsten Seifert is just following along in that tow of Nicholas Nold. Nicholas Nold, I'm sure, is going to bring all of them towards contesting for the win of the race. Philip Hammer at the very front got Jordan Strudwick 6 tenths back. Here is Emil Koopman's at 7/10, and this is the danger of Watkins Glen right here with 10 minutes of racing to go. None of these drivers are out of the race, not at all. There is Alistair Pollock diving up the inside into the carousel on Tyler Mergula, and is he going to make that pass? Tyler gives up that space, that racing room, to allow Alistair through, and unfortunately with that pass, I think they're now going to have lost that draft to Thorsten Seifer and the lead pack drivers effectively. But you know what? The fun can still be had. Here's Adam Schmidt joining this battle right there now. Adam Schmidt is going to go up the inside on Tyler Mergula into turn one. Let's see, he is pushing him along. There he goes. Does he make that move? Oh! Very last moment. Where did Tyler go? There he is. Very last moment to decide to make a move, but it ends up working out, and Adam Schmidt is on his way through. Mark De Bruin still able to catch a draft off of that group right there, so that's quite interesting. At the very front of this race, Jordan Strudwick in P2. He is 8/9 behind Philip Hammer. Now Emil Koopmans, after bleeding those positions from the race start, has gotten his form back together and chasing down Jordan Strudwick. So I'm super interested to see, does Jordan continue to hold on to this position with everything that he's got, or does he allow Emil Koopmans to have that slingshot and a chance to try and catch the Hammer up in P1? If you look a little further back, there is Daniel Thomas, Andreas Kirchberger, and Nicholas Nold. Nicholas Nold, who had that very fast qualifying lap. Now, because of the open qualifying and the high draft, we're not exactly sure of every driver's pace. The draft really, it really makes it difficult to gauge who's faster by how much. So I do know Nicholas Nold is still one of the fastest drivers on our grid most nights that he does show up, and it looks like he's gaining that inside lane position as we head towards the carousel. Emil Koopmans, does he go for the inside? He does not, so he thinks better of it, and there is Nicholas Nold on the inside there, and Adam Schmidt on the inside of Alistair Pollock. And so there goes Adam gaining back some of the spots that he lost previously from that little bit of a bump and a bruise. Woohoo! That final corner, it's definitely a tricky one. One funny thing about this exact track layout is that you are using a lot of your rear left tire. If you look at this corner here, you're accelerating and putting all that weight. Oh, it looks, who is that? Andreas Kirchberger making a mistake on that final corner, and so he's going to be effectively losing that draft to the lead pack and have Thorsten Seifer closer on his tail now. So Emil Koopmans, is he going to be challenging Jordan Strudwick for second position? He is pushing him along. He does not want to risk losing the Hammer. So it looks like Emil is trying to play ball with this push along and get back to that lead driver. So that's going to be really interesting. Out of the carousel, that may not have been the exit that would help them out, but yeah, we'll see. So it looks like Mark De Bruin up the inside into the carousel, and so Tyler Mergula is down one more spot. And as I was mentioning, so you come out of the carousel, that's a right turn, and all the weight of the car is going to be on the left side. When you're accelerating really hard, more rear left tire. So if you watch all these corners, it's right turn, rear left tire doing all the work. And so it's really going to put a lot of stress on that rear left tire. Lap after lap after lap, and trying to keep the balance of the car and the general driving characteristics of this car fair and manageable. It's quite an interesting game to play. Here we go. We're going to be heading into the carousel 2x2. Strudwick on the inside, but not far enough ahead. Getting a little bit of a push maybe from Daniel Thomas. So that is Emil Koopmans who has made that pass. Daniel Thomas around the outside. Nicholas Nold is the last car in that group, not able to make any better of it. Oh, and there goes the push. Jordan Strudwick getting pushed by Daniel Thomas. And there is Emil Koopmans on his way through. He is 1.55 seconds behind the leader. And let's see if anything happens from that. It looks like Jordan... Oh, and there goes Jordan Strudwick. He's spinning, and that is going to allow some of these cars on through. And it looks like Thorsten Seifer also made a pass on Andreas Kirchberger through the carousel. Unfortunately, I missed that, but I'm going to have to guess it was the textbook up the inside into the carousel. And that was the pass, I'm sure of it. Here is is Nicholas Nold getting a push? Nicholas Nold getting a push from Daniel Thomas. These guys do not want to let Emil Koopmans go. But then Daniel Thomas, does he challenge for that position anyways after giving the push? Oh, this is intense racing, and only 4 minutes to go. So Philip Hammer was the winner of the first race. He was able to solve the puzzle and get on through. Second race, able to solve the puzzle and get on through once again. So he is in first spot, and Nicholas Nold just bad luck, or maybe bad decisions. No, who knows? Just not able to stay ahead and be the winner of the races. There's who is in the background. That is Andreas Kirchberger, and the rear left tire just absolutely giving up on him and allowing a flock of Porsche Cups to just make easy passes and easy work of him. I think we're going to have about 3 more laps. We had 9 laps in the 10-minute. We're going to have about 14 in this one. And here goes Nicholas Nold. So he's going to make that pass up the inside. Daniel Thomas not defending the inside very hard. It's almost as if he's saying, hey, come take this position, I don't mind. And there he goes. Nicholas Nold is not one to back out of something like that, especially when it's free candy. But now we've got a drag race into the final few corners. Daniel Thomas is going to have an advantage on the first corner, but the second corner will be all on Nicholas Nold if he can stick with it. And is he able to stay there? Yeah, there you go. Right there. It's a left then a right. So you have an advantage on one corner and disadvantage on the next. Nicholas Nold wants that inside more than Daniel Thomas. And here we go into turn 1. They are definitely going to lose the draft to P2 if Emil Koopmans battling like this. But you know what? Full send. Why not? No regrets in life. Here you go up the S's, up the hill, coming down that back straight. There is Nicholas Nold. He's now ahead of Daniel Thomas, car number 160, as he heads down the straight. These guys are going to have to choose their lines. Let's see, Nicholas Nold wants the outside this time around. Okay, and Daniel Thomas is going to take the inside round that carousel, round the bowl. And Daniel Thomas now ahead. Nicholas Nold looks like he was giving that one up easy. Maybe he wants to have a little bit of strategy. Oh, and almost hitting the water barriers as he exits the carousel. And that is really, really intense. Here's Alistair Pollock. He's closed in on Mark De Bruin. Mark De Bruin ahead still ahead of Alistair Pollock. That pink dinosaur machine. Where is Nicholas Nold going? He getting a drive-through? Oh, and Mark De Bruin has made a contact with the wall, and that is going to be the end of his race. That is an absolute shocker. He was doing so well. And Alistair Pollock, I don't believe there's any contact between the two, but Alistair Pollock has now pulled it off and gotten ahead of Mark De Bruin. I wonder if that was part of his panic shifting that he's mentioned that he does. I know Alistair, he's one of the newer drivers, but it looks like he's having a lot of fun under that pink dinosaur machine. Andreas Kirchberger, coming around after a few unfortunate incidents, has found his way down to P7. So I'm going to do just a quick run through of the field. Looks like this is going to be the starting of our final lap. Where is that white flag? Come on, start waving that white flag. Is this not the final lap? This should be the final lap. I have no idea why the white flag was not running, but I'm looking at all my times, my statistics, everything. This is going to be the final lap. If it's not, so sue me, please. So there is. So the closest battle on track after all of the chaos that's taken place so far in just a short 15-minute race on this draft fest of a track. Here is Daniel Thomas. He is just shy of 1 second to Emil Koopmans, but don't worry, that draft will pull you together. And there you see it right there as they head through the carousel. I'm really doubtful that he's going to be able to make that pass or even get up alongside. So as you see it, unless there's any massive mistakes from any of these drivers, these will be the final resting positions of their races in this second main race. And then heading into that third race, yeah, there you go. Okay, checkered flag. Well, I have no idea why he's not waving his flags, but you can see on the timing tower, it is in fact the checkered flag for Philip the Hammer. There's Emil Koopmans taking the checker, weaving back and forth. There's Daniel Thomas, Thorsten Seifert, all the way up into P4. What a drive from Thorsten Seifert. There's Alistair Pollock, Andreas Kirchberger, then Tyler Mergellet. Oh, and there's a wall. Nicholas Nold, he is just sending it to the point that he's going to take all the walls possible. That is funny. Absolutely funny. And Neil Killen, who's the one that lost out the biggest, I think, in that 4 wide at turn 1. Not much for me to say about that one. That was just an intense move, I gotta say. So now this is just a 1-minute break for these drivers. You know, if you'd like this to be a 2-minute break, let me know. We can change it to give you a little bit more time. If you'd like to have 2 minutes, then, you know, say, hey, I need a little bit more time. 1 minute, not long enough. Anyways, so I like to do my 3 key points of the race for this final race. It's going to be 20 minutes, reverse grid, top 8. So my 3 key points: 1, as always, get a good start. Do not spin those tires. 2, you know what? Don't worry. Don't sweat about it. Just be relaxed. And if someone makes a pass on you, just play the game of trust that they'll bring you back to that lead group. And just be calm. The third one is just don't lose that draft to that lead group, because that draft is good for 0.5 or more of a second every single lap. As soon as you lose that draft, they are gone. So rule number 3 there, or point number 3, to me is actually rule number 1. Do not lose that draft to the lead pack. Give up a position if you absolutely have to, so that you do not lose that draft. Super, super important. You can see some of the cars starting to populate the grid for our final 20-minute race. And let's see. I want to look at the cars on the grid. Why'd you do this to me? There. I don't know if, because we are going off of a replay, this is not live, fortunately and unfortunately. I don't know if my flag guy is gonna wave that flag. I'm gonna find out. This is gonna be a nice experiment to see. Let's see if it works. So I think these drivers now have 5 more seconds to hit that grid button. It looks like everyone is on that grid. We have Tyler Mergellet at the very front, and the cars are starting to rev up as we're getting ready to see the lights go and the flag go green. And here we go, the flag goes green. Tyler Mergellet again, a good launch. Everyone's getting a pretty good launch into turn 1 as we see Tyler Mergellet now under braking. Who's that car? Daniel Thomas trying to go around the outside. A little bit of a bump. Oh, and Thorsten Seifert, a little bit of a miscue between all of the drivers. Philip Hammer having to back out, going way wide. A little bit of damage I think I saw there on the back of Thorsten Seifert. So let's go at the very front. This is going to be 3 wide heading into the carousel for the very first time. Tyler Mergellet on the inside, Kirchberger on the middle, and Adam Schmidt on the outside with Daniel Thomas and Emil Koopmans. Daniel Thomas looking to make the best of it and try and break on through. Kirchberger is not letting that happen. Emil Koopmans is the one that got the luckiest out of that time round, I would have to say. And Tyler Marigula is still in the lead of this race. Absolutely wild. This is a 2x2 through the final sector here. And look out, there's a wall coming on your left side if you're not careful. Tyler Marigula, with all the battling, is actually a little bit ahead. There's Alistair Pollock with Kirchberger, all of that battling. This has become super interesting. There's Nicholas Nold in the very rear with Philip Hammer at the very back. Mark De Bruin is back once again after the crash in this race previous, and up the hill through the S's for the second time this race. This is absolutely wild. So Adam Schmidt wants to try the outside line. Emil Koopmans, is he going to give him that push? I think that Emil Koopmans is going to give that trust in Adam Schmidt. Thorsten Seifert's a little bit further back. There goes Emil. Okay, so there goes Tyler Marigula, and is now in second spot with Emil Koopmans coming around the carousel. He's going to have the primarily better line really through this next sequence. And there goes Emil Koopmans through Tyler Marigula. There's Daniel Thomas. He's trying to get through as well around the outside of the final corner. And so Tyler Marigula is just essentially leading positions. If you look a little further back, we're going to have another interesting situation. Looks like Alistair thought better of it. Philip Hammer deciding not to make that pass there either, so he's backing out as well. And there goes up the hill, too wide, and there wow, it's totally a game of who are you going to push along. This is intense at the very front. Wow. A train of Porsches. Philip Hammer trying to decide which train of Porsches does he go behind. There goes Tyler Marigula off the track, and Thorsten Seifert, he's losing a few positions as well as Philip Hammer goes on the inside, and Philip Hammer is not far off of his teammate right now as we go too wide in the final few corners for the lead of the race, up a little further through the grid. So Adam Schmidt is losing his spot to Emil Koopmans. Daniel Thomas not far off. 1.3 seconds to Andreas Kirchberger, with Nicholas Nold up the inside into turn one, braking much later, able to lose the overlap and use all of that track on exit. Philip Hammer up the inside of Alistair Pollock through turn one as well. This is absolutely intense battling. Wow, what did I sign up for when I decided to call this race? This is insane in the membrane through the carousel. This is Adam Schmidt going around the outside. I don't think that is going to serve him very well. Daniel Thomas is easily going to take that position away from him, use that draft. I think he's going to getting that good exit. This is going to be really interesting. You can see much further back Nicholas Nold getting that position off of Kirchberger, and there goes Daniel Thomas through the wall of Adam Schmidt. There is Kirchberger. He has lost his spot to Nicholas Nold through the carousel, as you saw in the background. And there is Alistair Pollock. He's got Thorsten Seifert. Tyler Marigula has the likes of Mark De Bruin and Byron DeBello. Neil Killen is also back here in this race right here. So, wow, absolutely wow. Why? I'm going to have to drink like a liter of water after this to soothe my sore throat. Whew. Commercial break, please. Oh, man. So there's Philip Hammer going on the left lane position on Andreas Kirchberger. So is Kirchberger going to let him through? No, he's going to fight it. He is going to fight it. It's just that Philip Hammer is able to brake just a tiny bit later. And that outside lane position, as you know, through the carousel does get quite an excellent exit. And he's going to seal the deal right there. Kirchberger lifting just a slight amount to allow car number 60 to stay ahead. And now effectively P1 all the way to P8 in contact with each other. With 14 minutes to go, this race can be won by any driver within that top 8. So there is Thorsten Seifer making a move through the final corners on Alistair Pollock. He's got that draft still, so that rear bumper, ooh, I think I hear Tyler just hitting the wall. Something happened to Byron. I think he is waiting. Anyways, let's move back forward to the action because this is where the real action is. What is happening here? Daniel Thomas getting pushed along potentially by Adam Schmidt. Nicholas Nold has now caught up to this lead group. So anyone from P1 to P8 can potentially win this race. Does Nicholas go for... No, he is just throwing the head fake. Throwing the headlight fake. So through that final corner right there, that's where you get as close as you possibly can to the wall. It's quite a challenge sometimes. That wall, it will make or break your race if you can get close to it or smash off of it. It's quite a game to play. So Andreas Kirchberger, looks like he's in P6 here at 1 second back to that main front pack, and Thorsten Seifer at 1.4. So it's starting to see that lead pack break away. Rule number 3 is do not lose that draft. And it looks like a little bit of that is lost. There goes Nicholas Nold up the inside on Adam Schmidt, claiming that that track space and not letting him fight back for that position. That is a good, solid move from Nicholas Nold. He wants to get as far up ahead as he possibly can just to get away from Philip the Hammer so he can maybe win one of these races. No matter what it is, no matter the struggle that takes place on track, Philip Hammer will always find that way to get ahead of you. I don't know how he does it. Nicholas Nold is one of those drivers, has very, very high pace, and just doesn't seem to always have that same kind of magic. It's very interesting to see. No matter what, you can have Philip can have faster drivers in front of him, and he still somehow finds a way to get ahead of them. It's really, really odd to watch. It really is. So here goes Nicholas Nold. This is going to be 3 wide into the carousel on lap number 8 with 11.5 minutes to go. Nicholas Nold really pushing his luck. Looks like he backs out and allows Daniel Thomas to take that lead of the race. Philip Hammer making the pass on Adam Schmidt, just barely behind. You can see on the inside through the carousel. So Nicholas Nold pushing his luck and not able to gain any position still, but now diving under braking and making the pass on Emil Koolmans. How are those tires doing after all of this hard racing? You can see the left rear of Nicholas Nold's car has been scraping that wall. It looks like Emil Koolman's been doing the same thing, and so Emil Koolman's going to send it up the inside into turn 1. Oh! And there goes Emil Koolmans a little bit too aggressive on the throttle, and he's now out of that very, very front 2-3 pack of cars. Luckily, he still has not lost that draft, and has effectively brought Andreas Kirchberger back into contention for the possible win of the race. There goes Nicholas Nold up the inside into the carousel. Is Daniel Thomas going to play ball and just start pushing him along? I would actually have to guess yes. So here is Mark DeBruyne and Neil Killen. Neil got the longer distance to travel, but that outside line is going to have an excellent exit and put you in good position for the next few corners, or the next corner at least, and making a pass on Mark DeBruyne. Right on the outside, that's a very nice pass. Because I believe Mark DeBruyne was behind before that all started, if I'm not mistaken. So with Nicholas Nold now in the start of the race with 9 minutes 40 seconds left to go, I would not count him as the winner just yet, because you know what, with this draft and how much is gained, it's still anybody's guess how this is going to end. Here is Andreas. He is starting to find his way back into that group, because the group ahead of him is all so close together. They're not going to be losing the draft anymore, and the benefit is fully on Andreas as they head through that carousel. If he plays his cards right, hits his braking markers just right, focuses on his exit, as you can see right there, that interval is slowly dropping, because as I was saying, these cars ahead of him cannot make it use of that draft to widen that gap to Andreas anymore. It's definitely Andreas's slingshot to either lose or to use to his advantage. A little further back there is Thorsten Cypher. He's got Alistair Pollock. Oh, and for the lead of the race, Daniel Thomas is being challenged into turn 1 by Philip Hammer. And I gotta wonder if this is a team strategic move for Philip to make that pass right there to break that draft to Nicholas Nold. It does effectively bring Andreas Kirchberger into the mix much, much more. So I'm really curious to see how this one goes. Adam Schmidt is... I don't remember him being ahead of Emil Koeman, so these guys must have swapped positions at some point or another. So here we go, Mark De Bruin up the inside, trying to make a pass on Neil Killen. Neil Killen on the outside line, actually getting that better exit. So maybe that last time round, this is just a carbon copy of what happened last lap as well. Neil Killen round the outside, able to hold on, get the exit, and stay ahead of Mark De Bruin. So I know that's what happened this lap. Maybe that's exactly what happened the lap before as well. 7.5 minutes to go of basically NASCAR Porsche Cup, as far as I can see here. So up the hill for the 12th time, here we go. Thorsten Cypher, he's now praying that these guys ahead of him start battling to the point that he can actually catch up. He has a chance if they do start battling that much. It's possible. I've seen anything happen. It's anybody's game from P1 to P6. This is insane. Zero. Car sound's not copyrighted, is it? I hope not. I didn't get the copyright infringement for doing the Jeopardy sound, humming it or whatever the other week, so the auto and copyright did not catch that. Maybe it's just also because I was pretty bad at it. It might have been the quality factor. Absolutely horrible. So Philip Hammer is now 2/10 behind Nicholas Nold. Wow, he is now right there with him. So is Philip Hammer going to try and make a pass? It looks like he is going to go round the outside. So team orders out the window. And it looks like Nicholas Nold's going to have to try and battle against Philip Hammer round the carousel. Longer distance to travel for Philip the Hammer. But much, much better exit. Not able to make a pass, but into that final sequence of corners, Philip Hammer on the inside to start, giving up that position, but Nicholas Nold is spooked. He knows that Hammer's coming for his spot. He knows that Hammer's coming for that win. The Hammer has won that first race, the second race, and after the reverse grid, there goes looks like through that final corner, Adam Schmidt made a mistake. That rear left tire lit it up just a little bit too much, and it hooked him around, and that allowed Emil Koeman to make a nice, easy pass. But Philip Hammer has won that first race, won that second race with a reverse grid top 4, and after a reverse grid top 8, and that massive kerfuffle that we saw on the very first few laps, is now in the lead of this race just for a little bit. Let's see if he can make it stick as he goes around the carousel. He's giving racing room to Nicholas Nold as they head around that Bowl, the Watkins Glen Bowl, and he is effectively ahead. I think this is going to be Philip Hammer's position to hold on to, and this is now Philip Hammer's race to lose, with Daniel Thomas just behind this group. And they are going to be looking to break away from Emil Koopmans, who's 1.3 seconds back, and who is essentially the bodyguard to that front pack, I guess you could say, or that gatekeeper. I would almost say gatekeeper. The gatekeeper to that front lead pack for Adam Schmidt and Andreas Kirchberger. So Emil Koopmans, he's going to be that gatekeeper, and is he going to be able to still hold on to the key to that lead possible win for those drivers behind him? It's anybody's guess, but here we go. There goes Philip Hammer on the inside. He does not want Nicholas to have that inside lane position as they go around the carousel, but just like last lap, the outside car makes that pass. That last lap it was Philip, this lap it's Nicholas Nold putting the power down as hard as he possibly can. Daniel Thomas is directly until he's going to push Philip Hammer along just a little bit, I think. And Nicholas Nold is going to have the benefit around the left corner, but not around the right. Philip Hammer is still side by side as they try and put the power down and see who's got a lot more rear left tire. Heading into turn one, they are still 2x2 with Daniel Thomas now wanting to join this party even more, locking his front right tire, and that is going to hurt Daniel Thomas's efforts, and that is going to bring Emil Koopmans. Look, did Emil Koopmans have a little bit of an oopsie as well? I think he did, and that is going to put them much further back than they definitely wanted. With 2 minutes 40 to go, heading up the hill, they're still very much in that draft range, but Daniel Thomas with that front left tire lockup, his tires are not going to be enjoying this race for too much longer. So that is going to hurt. If I was the cars behind Daniel Thomas after seeing that, I would be trying to make a pass as fast as possible on Daniel Thomas, because he's at risk for possibly not holding on to that draft to that lead pack. But who knows? Maybe his tires are still fine. You really never know. It's a little bit of a lottery casino kind of experience with a lockup like that. It was quite a big lockup, but I don't think I've seen any other lockup this race so far. So they really still could be fine. Is this Kirchberger going up the inside into turn one? That's a little bit of a late lunge. I don't think there's any overlap. And there goes Adam Schmidt, unfortunately for Adam Schmidt. He's now down into, I don't know what position. He's just way back. A little bit of a late lunge, I think, from Andreas, but that's for the stewards to decide really how that goes. Here is Philip Hammer around the outside on the carousel on Nicholas Nold. These guys are racing for everything they've got. Emil Koopmans is really not far behind. After all of that challenge that he's had to deal with, he is still within that range of this lead group. 1 lap to go, 1 minute on that timer. So this is the final lap. Let's see who's got the best tires, who's got the best game plan as they head through that start-finish line for the very last time. Here we go. This is Nicholas Nold in the lead of the race currently. 917 car, followed by Philip Hammer, car number 60, and Daniel Thomas, 160, and Emil Koopmans, 911. I love that number. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful car number to choose while you're racing the Porsche Cup car. So Philip Hammer, he is going to want the outside lane position. He is very much ahead as they head towards that braking zone. Is he going to be able to make use of that? Is Daniel Thomas going to be able to follow his way through? I think the shorter distance travel is going to be Nicholas Nold's advantage unless Philip Hammer can stay side by side. Just real quick, I want to see how this one goes, because you can see on the interval what happens up there. So there's Neil Killen. He is making that pass. There's Nicholas Nold able to stay ahead through the final few corners. Daniel Thomas directly behind Philip Hammer, and Nicholas Nold pulling out his win, the very first win of this evening. Congratulations, Nicholas Nold, Philip Hammer, and Daniel Thomas. Emil Kubin's not far back. There is Andreas Kirchberger coming across in 5th position. Thorsten Seifert in 6th. Alistair Pollock in 7th. Neil Killen staying ahead of Mark De Bruin. He's coming in at 8th. There is Mark De Bruin in 9th. Adam Schmidt, after that funky little incident, coming in at 10th. He's... Whoa! Whoa! Insanity. Sparks be flying. Here is Byron DeBello, who did not follow that rule number 1 of do not lose the draft. Unfortunately, he's 15 seconds back. And Tyler Murray, I think it's because Tyler and Byron may have had a little bit of a spinning or coming together. Something happened, and we caught just a little bit of it, but anyways, I don't think it was actually a big deal between these two drivers. I saw Byron waiting it out. Whoa! I saw Byron waiting it out and, yeah, waiting it out so that he could allow Tyler to pass him back. So, let's just empty that all out and we can show. There we go, our final results. So Nicholas Nold was the winner of our feature 20-minute reverse grid top. So congratulations to Nicholas Nold. Philip Hammer not able to find his way through this time and ending up in 2nd, but gaining the most race points overall. So congratulations to Philip Hammer. Daniel Thomas in 3rd. Emil Koopmans in Kirchberger in 5th. The Burglarmeister 5th. Thorsten Seifert in 6th. Alistair Pollock in 7th, Neil Killen in 8th, Mark De Bruin in 9th, Adam Schmidt 10. After tumbling down the order, Byron DeBello in 11th, Tyler Murrigan in 12th. Jordan Strudwick did not start that final race. I don't think he knew that there's 3 races, but there was. And there we have it, folks. That is the end of our Euro Global Division Round 4. Watkins, absolutely exciting. Blew my mind. And just, wow, I love it. So I hope you all enjoyed the show. And here we go. And then we'll be tuning out and all until next week. Oh, too soon, eh? Yeah, but I'll be seeing you all next week at the Nürburgring. Hope you all have a great week, great weekend. And yeah, I'll see you guys all later.